Hey, howdy. Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings, Cretans.
Travis, you're going to need a saying of some kind.
Yeah, it's gonna suck anyway. Hey guys,
Welcome.
thank you.
Welcome. Yes, welcome. We're here drinking beer, answering questions. I mean, what else should I do with my life besides drink beer and answer questions?
Yeah.
Usually the questions are you going to drink more beer? Don't you think you had enough?
True. Yeah.
Could you actually, do something useful? Can you help around? Can you, stuff like that? I think those are the questions I hear most. I think.
Yes.
Do you
And
guys
are
not
you going
get
to take
those-
the trash out?
Right? Do you guys not get those questions? No, just me. You're afraid to say. That's what it is.
Correct.
Afraid to say. Look at you guys. See, I am an open book. I'm an open kimono. I am fully exposed in my life to all you. I'm a sharer, is what I am. A sharer.
That's valid. And as this is being recorded, I refuse to share at the moment.
Oh yeah. You know who's also a sharer?
Our good friend John Blakeman.
That's a fact.
He shares all the time.
Right. Sometimes TMI.
A little bit.
A little too much. A little too much. But generally I think he's just kidding. But he shares his vast knowledge of engineering to craft some of the best brewing equipment out there. Whether you're looking at something, you're starting out, you don't have a huge budget, got the Anvil series. Every bit is solid, every bit is good, make great beer on it. But if you got a little extra coin to spend and you want to go with the fancy stuff that makes your brew day a lot more fun and automated
Easier, yeah.
or easier, better, they've got that too. And if you take the ultimate step, the one that people warn you about in programs like this, if you take that step to go commercial, he's got that shit too. He's got whatever you're looking for, and they're Blickman Engineering, quality guys, quality equipment, great knowledge of brewing and engineering. Check them out, blickmanengineering.com. They've been paying for the show, so you don't have to. So the least you can do is check out their website and give them an email, feedback@blickmanengineering.com. Tell them how much you appreciate that they pay for the show. All right, today we are doing more of your questions. We're 49 episodes away from catching up. 48, maybe, I don't know. We're getting there. But we want to leave no question behind. We're going to make sure we answer all of them. One of the things you can do if you're listening live is you can get in on that chat room there, and there's live chat, or I don't know if you in the comments section.
The comments.
There's a bunch in there. Let's see here. Spy Brew, yeah, we hope to see you in Mamo at the craft beer conference again. I would love to be there. I've missed the last few for various health reasons, and I'm dying to go back. Tony asks about he's in the military. He's for 20 years. He wants to turn his passion into a career post-retirement. What's your recommendation for how to get started in the field of brewing? Are there certain things I should be working on to help translate home brewing into professional brewing?
Bunch of money.
Well, it doesn't take a huge amount of money if you're careful. What it takes is, your ability to, manage what money you have properly. You can't start out with a little bit of money and buy, a giant fermenter and then go like, oh, I don't have money for the brew plant or whatever. You have to map things out. You really, doing a lot of pre-planning, deciding on what size you're going to do, all that, and how much money you're going to need. If you were to take any classes at all, I tell people this all the time, there'd be an award-winning homebrewer, been brewing for decades, won every award possible, done a lot of, brews at commercial breweries with friends, learned a lot about the industry. What you need to do is take some business classes, because that's what's going to put you out of business, is not knowing how to run a brewing business. It's a business after all. And if you can't make the dollars work coming in and going out, you will fail. Doesn't matter how good your beer is or how bad your beer is, you'll fail on the business end. So you got to make sure you got that locked down. And then, the brewing thing, it's kind of, customers are kind of forgiving. The beer we were making when we first started is nowhere near as good as the beer we're making now. It's taken us a decade to get to this point. And I fully admit the beer we're making back then, I wouldn't serve now. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. I think we're closer to the great end of the scale than we are to the horrible end of the scale now. So it takes time, but people will be forgiving of that. They're like, yeah, okay, some beers are better, some beers, not their cup of tea, but eventually you get there. But the dollars and cents are not forgiving. So get yourself some business knowledge. Ryan asks, what's the watch out for using wet hops? Well, now they're working on, so they're doing we were talking to Brian at YCH, and he says they've come up with a way to
Freeze them.
the hops. And so they're going to be available more often than not. I mean, the watch outs are, it's 7-to-1 weight of wet on those hops. So you can't just use the normal amount of hops you're using. You need 7 times the amount. And just be careful that you don't get way too, green and chlorophyll-y character. Let's see here. Jimmy asks, I know it's been nearly a year since the spices episode. Just curious if you ever worked out anything as a garam masala spiced pumpkin beer. I have not.
Me either.
Sounds like a great idea. All right, let me copy that. I should have done this the first time. Let me paste that, and then I'll put that on our beer ideas. It probably is still there, but sorry. Rich asks, hey Jamil, how the hell are you? I'm still alive. I got all sorts of medical problems, coughing my lungs out. I don't have COVID, but I got other lung problems, heart problems. It really sucked. I had another CT scan last night. Gotta go for some other tests tomorrow. Yeah, it sucks.
CT chest scan on your chest.
Yep. I've got these gross on my lungs, my heart, other organs, like cancer, but not cancer.
Jamil's always going to be more than the rest of us.
But yeah, it's fine. I'm still alive. It sucks. It's draining the life out of me, but hey, I can still drink.
There you go.
Let's see. Henry is saying it sucks ions ASAP. Big H2O units are plastic. Seltzer-based unit are stainless steel, but are ion-loaded solutions.
I think he's referring to the show, to our previous show where we were talking about RO units and corrosion, and storing RO water in stainless steel.
Right. So no.
Yeah, so I think he's agreeing with us that plastic's preferable.
Yeah.
Otherwise, add in some ions to decrease the corrosion potential.
Ron's asking if you guys are brewed with spruce tips. Do you have any good recipes for a nice winter ale?
haven't actually brewed with them because we don't have spruce tips readily available here in LA.
You don't?
Not so much. No,
There's not a guy named Spruce that has some tips for you?
no. I've had some very nice spruce tip beers over the years. But
So, recently, I think, you go back through the Q&A, I'm pretty sure I went over in a fair detail about spruce tips.
I think so.
So somebody had a question about, there's various kinds of spruce tips that are out there, depending on the variety of tree. And, there's more, East Coast, there's not a whole lot in the area that John's in.
Yeah.
But
Alaska's better for them.
Depends on how fresh they are. And you want the younger buds and the tips, and the volume used. It's a lot like hops, but you don't want the old woody stuff. You want to go with the fresh
Fluorescent green.
There you go. William's asking, are you guys coming to HomebrewCon in Pittsburgh? I have no idea. When is HomebrewCon in Pittsburgh?
Must be next year, 2022.
Is it the BA's HomebrewCon, the HA HomebrewCon? Is that what you're talking about?
Probably. Yeah, I
didn't know it was in Pittsburgh. I'd love to go.
Mhm.
What I need is somebody to reach out to me and set up one. It's got to be, kind of post-pandemic. I'm a weak, delicate flower, and I need to be careful. Two, I need somebody to pony up some bucks to help me go out to Pittsburgh. But I think if you get me like a free conference pass, I'll speak. Get a free conference pass for that, right?
Yep, that's right.
And somebody buys me well, it's not Philly, so do they have cheesesteaks in Pittsburgh? I don't know.
Yeah.
What they have? You got a different kind of sandwich in Pittsburgh?
Mm-hmm. Our good friends, the Hudacheks, drove to the Philly HomebrewCon. I bet they'll probably drive to the Pittsburgh HomebrewCon as well. So
you're saying I shouldn't go?
You should fly into Detroit, have them pick you up at the airport, and then drive you the rest of the way.
I'll be deaf by the time I reach there. Have you listened to them speak for more than an hour? What,
I tune them out. I don't know, just the first couple minutes. But
if I brought noise canceling headphones, do you think they'd be offended?
No, not at all. They would assume you're listening to their music.
I love me some Hudacheks. I haven't had a chance to see them in a long time. Ron asks, how's Justin's new life in witness protection? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen him, so I'm sure it's fine. Ron says the Pope has no secrets. That is true. Let's see.
Another request for
William says I'll pay $50 for the updated, expanded, unabridged version brewing classic styles. John Blickman has been begging for this. Okay. Yeah, I just need time to make it happen. I'm gonna make just all the shit we weren't allowed to put in the first one. We're gonna put in the second one.
Right.
Jimmy says I plan to make a rice beer with that forbidden rice. Oh no, Thai forbidden rice. Would it be beneficial to grind up the rice before I cook it, or smash it after I cook it? And can it be overcooked when the purpose is a beer adjunct?
Well, overcooking might lose you some of the aromatics from the rice if you're intending to get that into the beer.
That's one of the values of the forbidden rice. Yeah.
Yeah. You could grind it up to make it easier to mash, more accessible.
Is it just going to cook and then convert because of the enzymes in your mash from your base malt?
Yeah, And it comes down to the same reason we crush our base malts. You get faster access of the enzymes to the interior of the starch.
Mhm.
So, and that's why we flake other grains like flaked wheat and flake rice to get better access of the enzymes to the starches. So yeah, it probably would be a good idea to crush or grind up the rice before cooking it.
Or cooking, yeah,
It would convert faster in the mash,
right.
but it's gonna be really gummy.
Right. Lots of rice hulls. Jack says they have fried bologna sandwiches in Pittsburgh.
Ah, that's a
That does
draw.
not sound bad. I have to admit, it could be quite delicious. Jack, I'm looking forward to that. And William says, so we'll see you in Pittsburgh next year. Get you some sandwiches, and let's do that updated Brewing Classic styles. All right. If you're listening live, feel free to add your questions and comments in the chat there. If you're listening in the podcast, well, enjoy these commercials, and we'll be back right after this. All right, we're back. We're answering your questions live, and also if you email them into
Brewing Network, Brew Strong at thebrewingnetwork.com.
brewstrong@thebrewingnetwork.com. See, I think I'm losing my mind here. It's getting to be a bit of a problem.
You had John Blickman on your mind, that's all.
So I was telling my wife, I went to the grocery store. I'm like, pick up a few items, and I need to get some cash from the ATM. So I go in, and then I'm like, yeah, they didn't have some of the items I was looking for. I'll go to another store. So I go to another store, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna look for those items. While I'm here, I should get some cash from the ATM. Well, I got cash at both places about 10, 15 minutes apart, and didn't realize that I had already got cash again. There you go. I don't know. It's kind of
that could happen to me.
Right. I know. I'm just losing. The short-term memory is going into the crapper here.
The question is, did you tell Liz how much cash you had?
I did. Well, I left her I'm like, here's $300. She goes, well, why? I'm like, I'd like to say that I was very thoughtful and thought after your trip, you probably needed some more cash. So I got it for you. But the reality is I'm just a clueless idiot that staggers through life, not realizing what he's done. And, there you go. That's me. Yep. And so she just kind of looked at me, nodded,
smiled.
yes, smiled. Yeah. My dumb husband. Yeah.
She loves you like we do.
I see you guys nodding at me like she nods at me a lot of times. I say something and you guys like, sure. Yeah. I think people are afraid to counter me on stuff. They just humor me. That's, I guess, the way you guys are my dearest friends is you humor me.
Right.
Then you should say, no, we don't. We listen to you.
We're not afraid to tell you we agree. Yeah.
Oh, Ben has a question about a beer gun. He says, I bottle from a keg using the beer gun. Once I bottle and cap the beer filled from the keg, does the bottle beer need to be refrigerated because the beer has already been cold, or can it go back to room temperature for storage?
No, it should go back to cold.
Should always be stored cold. I don't know about this whole, in and out, I think people become, used to seeing beer out warm in grocery stores and warehouses and all that stuff. It shouldn't be. It's food. Would you leave your food out in room temperature just because it won't get bacteria, or it won't, kill you once it goes bad, it's still going bad a lot of times. You know, if you store it cold, it'll last for a long, long time. Your refrigeration is key. You know, the reason they do it is because, you know, beer's been pasteurized for, you know, big beer's been pasteurized for forever, and you can just leave it out warm. Tastes like crap in 6 months, but who cares? Just leave it out warm. Who wants to pay for refrigeration? If you spend all the money brewing this beer, buying the top quality ingredients, making sure that everything's perfect, put all your time into this, you know, you put in more time and money than it costs to just go buy good beer, you should refrigerate that thing. You know, you should keep it in the best of conditions, and then you can enjoy it for a long time. I understand not everybody has lots of refrigeration, but feel free to like get rid of your spouse's car and put in a couple extra fridges. You know, do what Travis does. You know, don't allow anyone to park in the garage.
Right.
He's got his giant ice machine there. He's got, you know, he's got the cutout of the guy holding paint cans.
Bobby Aber.
Right. That's right. It's former Saints great quarterback. It does, you know, he doesn't look recognizable without the helmet and the jersey.
I was going to say 3 of those 4 words are accurate. Former Saints quarterback.
Oh, I could have sworn that was Vinny back there holding 2 paint cans.
It does kind of look like Vinny. This could be cans of, I'm going to say, Blind Pig and Pliny.
All right, let's call it Vinny and CV agree.
Vinny would crack up at that. He would think that's hilarious. I love Vinny. He's a good guy. Let's see here. Ron wants to know, what is your go-to beer nowadays? Nowadays. John, your go-to beer now?
My go-to beer. I've been drinking Alasta Brewing Helmet Hellas lately. But also Pizza Port's Chronic Ale, which is very nice.
Travis?
Sorry to hear they have a sick ale. Sorry, you asked me. Other than homebrew, stuff I send you, like the things that feature Sabro. But the most unique thing right now is that triple hop Duvel. It's an incredibly well-made beer, and it just blows my mind.
You sent me that, and I've been waiting to crack it open in the right circumstances. I almost brought it today, but you know.
Okay, John, what's your address? I'll send you one.
Don't send them one. People
Yeah.
send too much stuff already.
I'll send it.
My go-to is actually Heretic's Cali IPA. Good West Coast, traditional, you know.
No Sabro.
No, sorry. It's just a great West Coast IPA.
Nice.
That's what I was drinking when we started the last show. Let's see. Jack has a question about amnesia juice at Heretic. Is it going to be available for a while? Going to be a seasonal? It's a seasonal. We release it every fall. You know, so there's 4th of Juicy, which is for 4th of July. That's like 14% hazy. And then there's Amnesia Juice, which is 16%, which comes out, you know, late August, early September. August. Comes out in August. Available for a month or two until we run through what we have. We make limited amounts. That's an easy drink in 16.5%, I'm going to tell you. That is, did I send you some, John?
No, I don't think so.
Or you
Hey,
can't
John, what's your
remember?
address?
You just can't remember. That's the issue.
Yeah, no, I bought the Evil 3, the Shallow Grave, and I think the Milk Stout. But I didn't get the Amnesia Juice.
The Macchiato?
Yeah.
All right, I'll trade you. I have some amnesia juice if you have some macchiato left.
Oh, okay.
Or I'll just send some to both of you. That's fine. Let's see here. Joanne says she agrees. She met Vinny at Big Beers in Vale years ago. Great guy. Yeah, Vinny's a sweetheart. Wonderful person.
She
Wonderful
agrees
person.
that looks like Vinny.
That it looks like Vinny, and Vinny would be holding paint cans, and he's a nice guy. That's what she says. All right.
Massive quantities of hop extract.
That's probably what it is.
Well, and you know who else are nice guys? Good friends.
RJ and Josh.
RJ at Brew Chatter. Absolutely. They are sweethearts of folks. Very knowledgeable. They run a great place there. If you ever get a chance, stop in. They got a bar inside inside their brew shop where you can drink pints. Well, you know, it's not just like give you a little sip of something. They'll pour you a pint, and you can, talk about brewing. You can check out all the latest gear that they got. You can get all, devise some cool recipe while you're drinking. That's when the best recipes are written, if you ask me. So check them out. Brew Chatter, brewchatter.com. They're in Sparks, Nevada, just to the east of Reno. Really cool place, really cool guys. If you get a chance, support them. They support you by helping pay for this program. So check them out. All right, another short break, and we'll be back with your questions right after this. All right, we're back. Going through the questions that you can email to brewstrong@thebrewingnetwork.com. And let's see here. Brent can't get good head. Brent can't get good head.
Is he married or not?
We don't want to get it. So the question is this better on your birthday, or is it any time of the year? It's not too much. That was too much. One a little too far. I have made your recipe raisin de saison recipe twice, and each batch has had very poor head retention. After the first batch, I went back and listened to the old Brew Strong episodes looking for some advice. My second attempt, I increased the mash temp to 150 degrees, reduced the vigor of my boil. I was boiling the crap out of it, and I tried to transfer less yeast to the keg before carbonating. And still my beer has very poor head retention. It tastes very good, looks great, but pours a small creamy head that dies fast. It's not my glassware because I can pour a Saison DuPont and have the creamy meringue head that lasts for days. Could it be my kegging practices, something wrong with my process? This is only my 5th batch and 4th all grain, so I'm very wet behind the ears, and any advice or suggestion will be greatly appreciated. This is from August 18th, 2015. We jump right on these emails.
Yeah.
I don't know if Brent has given up homebrewing or has figured it out, but let's give him an answer anyways.
Yeah. So not the glassware. Okay. He's shortened the boil, so he's not boiling the crap out of it anymore. Because overboiling can hurt your head retention.
Question for you guys. Would a traditional pale French Belgian malt, would it be less modified and would have more of the proteins that give it head than what we'd get in the US?
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
See, Travis, making himself
useful there. Yeah.
useful here.
NOLA Brewing Company, Crescent City connection.
This is beer from Travis. There's like a little spot of poop in here. I don't know. We'll talk about how the top of the can is clean. You don't have to do anything to it, but there is a drop of. There's like
So that Cobra cleaner that Beaver has, right? That thing's
There's a
It's like-
little turd in there. Sorry.
You were telling.
What I should pull up my copy of Brewing Classic Styles, but the Raison de Saison, does that have any souring in it? Or a wild yeast
No.
package? No, straight. So it's not a proteolysis pH issue. Like
So-
you can have some sours.
Right. I think the answer is this. Especially on beers that may finish dry. If you get really good attenuation and you're counting on the proteins and all that to produce the head. If he's getting a low fine head, which is what it sounded like he was getting, I would talk about possibly just letting it sit in the keg and lager for some time. What I've found when I first made 60 shilling Scottish ale, I would get large bubbles, head dissipates immediately. After letting it sit for a year, it's like this fine, tight, creamy head that wouldn't go away. Nothing else. It sat in the fridge for a year and just became, perfect. So sometimes, just depending, if you're trying to serve this too quick, Saison is something that was laid up, over time. And, the Saison DuPont that you've gotten, I'm guessing is probably at least a couple of months old, if not even longer than that. If you let it sit in the keg, just let it sit and settle and give it time, I think that, these larger nucleation sites and he may not have enough carbonation. He may be carbonating to like 2.5. He should be up more around 3.5. Higher carbonation. It looks, if he's getting a fine creamy head and that's lasting, then just up your carbonation and then pour that and you'll get a bigger head that'll last a bit longer. If the head's dropping quickly, if it's building in large bubbles and dropping quickly, just let it sit, let it lager for some time and that'll fix it.
Get the microparticles to settle out, and maybe you won't have the nucleation and sites that lead to the big bubbles. That could be it. Yeah. Oh, you're
Let me
muted,
ask you
Travis.
guys. Thank you. Let me ask you guys for a point of clarification that I hear a lot with Belgians. You've advised hanging on to that Saison for a couple months. Somehow everybody likes to age and brew Saisons at like 80 to 90 degrees. And it's only that temperature in Belgium for a couple of days of the year. So when you say hang on to that Saison for a couple of months, you thinking 40s, 50s, 60s, 100?
40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lagering effectively.
Yeah. Cold
Okay.
conditioning. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah. Cause I mean, you're going to want, if this micronucleation idea is valid, you're going to want the colder temperatures to help that haze settle out and improve the head retention that way.
Another question from the chat. Jimmy asks, another beer I plan to make is a raw or short boil, no hop brown ale using Rima Kvek that has bacteria to make a sour brown. The yeast is supposed to give off toffee among other flavors. Should I use any crystal type malts like Caramunic and crystal rye, or keep the ingredients to toasty and roasty specialty grains? Well, it depends on what you're trying to make. For sour brown, I would try, and it depends on the amount of souring, but I would try and balance it off with a bit of, crystal or, malt that'll give a little bit of back sweetness to kind of settle it out. I would avoid a lot of roasty because the acidity of the roast, the acrid nature of some of the roast can really be kind of brutal when you're talking about the flavors in a sour. So it's very hard to make dark sour that has a great balance to it.
Mhm.
And people may be like, oh no, I want my sour really sour. I keep hearing that. Oh, it's an American sour. Take the enamel off your teeth. It's like, no, that's disgusting. A lot of the classic sour brewers, they all look for a little bit of balance to them. So
Yeah.
I think going with a little bit of that crystal malt may not be a bad idea.
Yeah. I would add some, no more than half a pound per 5 gallons. Probably even a
Javier-
quarter pound.
Javier asked in the chat, pre-isomerized hops, thoughts, comments, concerns?
Can I add a note on his question? He
Yep.
didn't throw it in there, but Javier does meads.
Oh, he does meads.
Yes.
Okay.
So hops for meads? Is that what we're talking about?
Could be.
But-
Yeah, I know people are making hopped meads. I think pre-isomerized hop extracts are valid.
I mean, when you're going to boil it yourself, that's fine. It's just another tool in the arsenal, right?
Mhm.
Depends on. I think I would have a problem. So all the modern hop products that are out there, the oils, the pre-isomerized hop extracts, all this stuff, they're fine. I would have a problem if you made a beer that was strictly using pre-isomerized. So you took like wort, fermented out, then you poured in this hop extract and that hop oil, and you kind of like were chemically making a beer.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, that kind of sucks. If you're using it as just another tool in getting quality hop character, you're using it in order to avoid too much green matter in your boil because you're trying to go with an intense bitterness and all this stuff. If you're using it as a tool towards making a great beer in a traditional beer making way, I think it's perfect. I think great. Use it all you want. But I think if you're just using it to shortcut and cheapen the process, then I have a problem with that. And I think that's the way a lot of people feel.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, I don't make much meat. I don't know how much meat you guys make, but they don't do like 60-minute boil, etc., right?
Right.
No.
Yes, I think that's why Javier asked me that question earlier when I thought we were going to have Brian on.
Mhm.
That's why I know Javier and he does meads and so forth.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think in meat it'd be great. It seems like I think you get a slightly different character than you do if you're like boiling hops. But it depends on what flavor you're trying to achieve and what it turns out to be. So it might be fine. All right. Boy, we got a lot of questions. We got backed up by the chat. Let's see. Limage asks, hi guys, I have read from Vinny Trilurzo that he likes to dry hop twice. I believe Firestone Walker and some other breweries do this as well. My question is this worth doing at the homebrew scale? I rack to a corny keg and dry hop in weighted down hop bags suspended with dental floss. Is it worth doing 2 doses? I usually dry hop at 4 ounces per 5-gallon batch.
Okay. Well, yeah, double dry hopping, triple dry hopping is a way to get the oil out without leaving them in there long enough to get the more chlorophyll, green tasting character out of the hops. Do you double dry hop, Jamil?
Double, triple. So we used to what we started out as was based off of many years ago. Vinny was talking about double dry hopping.
Mm-hmm.
When's this question from? 1932 is when this question came in.
Right.
October 2015. All right. And back then, he was talking about dry hopping multiple times, and so, dry hopping for a few days, dumping those dry hops, dry hopping for a few more days, because dry hopping was a week, right?
Yeah. A week, two
No.
weeks.
Right. Let's
Yeah.
break that up into, half of it, or, the same amount, and we'll do it twice, and we'll do it for 3 days, and then we'll do it for 3 days. And so that's what we started out doing. And I was traveling, doing appearances, and I came back and I tasted the beer, one of the beers. I'm like, this is different. And they're like, what did you guys do? And you're like, exactly the same. You're dreaming. I'm like, no, you changed something. You didn't tell me, and you changed something. This is different than what we were doing before. They're like, it's exactly the same. I'm like, well, show me the brew sheet. And it's like, see, exactly the same. I'm like, no. So you only dry hopped once. They're like, well, you're having us dry hop twice. It didn't really make any sense. It's like, we took this, you're just having us take the same amount of hops and we split it. You're splitting it into two. We just put it all in at the beginning. I'm like, that's the problem. It tastes different. So let's say you have 10 pounds of hops and you put in 5, you wait 3 days, dump those, and then you put in another 5, wait 3 days, dump those, and then you package. That's one beer. Let's say the other beer, you put in 10 pounds at the beginning, you wait 6 days, and then you dump them and package. The two taste distinctly different. I mean, I did it without even knowing, what had happened. I could taste it.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes a difference. Fast forward to today, where instead of doing that, so we started doing that. Then we went to 24 hours, and we would hop 24 hours, dump it, hop 24 hours, dump it, and then package, because based on Shellhammer and some of the other studies that have been done. Then we went to like 12 hours. And I think we went to like 3 times. And then we've gone to recirculation for 3 hours, let it settle, drop it, package. So how much you dry hop, how you dry hop, the time you dry hop, all makes a difference. It's not all equivalent. Even if the numbers are the same, the beer turns out completely different. So how are you dry hopping those beers that you send me, Travis, your smash beers that I like so much?
I do a 2-day and a 1-day, and then I do about a 48-hour chill and transfer off. And I do use canisters, and in a 5-gallon batch, I think it's 8 ounces of hops split up. It was easier when I was doing 10-gallon batches because it was a whole pound in the dry hop. Split up again, same way. So it's 2 days. I don't take it out. Add the other one, so I got a 3-day plus a 1-day effectively. And you're right, man. If the hop's going to give you the charge, you're going to get it. You don't need a week to find out.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting.
I'll have to look into this and 3-hour recycle thing.
It's surprising how distinct it is. Sean asks, hi guys, does water high in calcium affect attenuation? My water profile looks like this: 99 or 95 parts per million calcium, 29 parts per million magnesium, 32 parts per million sulfate, 65 parts per million chloride. For my IPAs and pale ales, I like to get the sulfate up, but I'm afraid that adding gypsum will bring my calcium too high and encourage the yeast to flock out earlier than I'd want it to for a very nice dry beer. Does high calcium press the issue of flocculation, or just help it happen once the yeast is already would have decided to flock out? Hopes this makes sense. Yeah, so you could add all the calcium you want, and that does not cause the yeast to flocculate early. It is an aid in the yeast flocculating. So add all the gypsum you want. That won't do it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Justin writes, love you guys in the show. Longtime listener here. Quick question. I just read your article in BYO magazine on hazelnut flavor. I guess this is my article. Can you recommend any specific product suppliers for hazelnut extract and or powder? I'm working on a hazelnut barrel aged stout and I want to nail the hazelnut flower flavor. Looking to get a pretty hazelnut forward taste. Hoping to avoid the artificial flavor taste you get from many extracts. Any advice on quantity to use would be greatly appreciated as well. Keep up the great work. Thanks in advance, Justin in Oswego, Illinois. So we use extract from Man on the East Coast. It's the one extract that actually tastes like hazelnut. They like steam process hazelnuts and drive the oil out that way. And it's super expensive. The folks are difficult to work with. You have to buy in like 15 gallons at a time, which is like thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Luckily, a lot of the homebrew shops, that's what they actually carry. So what's the big homebrew supply wholesaler?
LD Carlson?
Or if it's FH Steinbart's, Steinbart's or whoever.
Either, well, Steinbart's West Coast, Carlson's East Coast.
It's West Coast, Steinbart's, I think. They actually repackage that into small containers for homebrew shops and sell it to homebrew shops.
Mm.
So I think that's the key. You need to trace it back to Man's. And what I should do is set up a little pump on one of our drums here. And you come in, you pass me like a 20 and you can take a few strokes off the pump, into your container. It is really good. It is hazelnut. The other way that people do it that have had good results with is there's places that press hazelnuts and peanuts and other nuts to make oils, and then they have the remaining puck of stuff, and you can use those. And they sell those, I think, East Coast and West Coast. So you can try that. But that one hazelnut, it's insanely expensive, but it's really good. So there you go. As far as quantity use, you have to, it depends on the beer. It depends on so many things. You have to just do, some taste testing and see where you're at. I could give you a number, but it's going to vary beer to beer. Once, you got to dial it in depending on what you're looking for.
Might be a part 2 on that. Your CHP, how can I say this nicely? It has great head. So your hazelnut extract is not killing the head, which you're using. I guess the easy answer is find the stuff from Man, because it's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Rod says, several times I've heard you guys express strongly held opinions regarding the flavor of mosaic hops. I can't help wondering what life experiences have contributed to your familiarity with the taste of cat piss. For the record, I agree with you on this topic. I don't know. I love mosaic. We're going to do we just did a beer with Brew Chatter called Mo Horny, because it's mosaic yeast or mosaic hops and the Hornindal yeast. So we're going to call it Mo Horny. And then I'm doing another beer called So Much Mo. It's going to be 100% mosaic. So I love mosaic.
I've talked to a couple people about that. I think there's a human perception, individual perceptions come into play, where to me, that compound smells like overripe fruit or rotting fruit.
Oh, absolutely.
To other people, it doesn't. And then hop growers have told me, that was the early mosaic. It doesn't taste the same anymore. The plants have matured and various growing conditions have changed. and it's different than what it was 10 years ago.
Mhm. Absolutely. It's, it's like if you got like a underripe peach, people are like, yeah, what's this fuzzy thing that's hard as a rock and has no flavor.
Mhm.
Get a nice ripe, juicy peach. It's like, oh my God, this is one of the greatest fruits in the world. Right.
Right.
Just depends on what you're getting. And also, even then, people may hate peaches because stone fruit has a little bit of sulfur character to it or whatever
Mhm.
it is. Same thing on mosaic. People complain about it as being diesel-y and things like that. I don't know. What's your take on it, Travis? What's your thought on mosaic? You like it? Hate it?
Yeah, I'm in between. I'm middle of the road. It kind of depends on who uses it, how, and when, and is the beer more or less than 4 weeks old? Because it kind of falls off a cliff a little bit.
Mhm.
But I mean, compared to other hops, I think it's an excellent hop. It's not my preferred hop, but it really is a quality hop. Um, and if people want diesel, there are dozens of Australian hops that we can show you what diesel is really about.
Mhm.
We have to make a diesel beer. Do you,
Or not.
do you diesel, bro? There you go. Quality beer name. Right. It depends on, so many factors. Like we say, well, could be.
Yep.
In the chat, James asks, have you used any of the new hop products like Incognito, Flex, and Spectrum? I've heard of breweries claiming they use HDHC, high density hop charge, that equate to up to 15 pounds per barrel of dry hops. Are these HDHCs a blend of products? Ooh, interesting questions here. We just did a beer with Hopsteiner and Alibi Brewing at Heretic. That was all new products, Incognito, Flex, Spectra, all that stuff, all the newest trendy things. It turned out good. We really like it. It's different because it doesn't have quite that kind of tannic green background of regular hop material.
Mhm.
But it has great aromatics and flavor, just kind of missing that one compound.
That hop aroundness.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I like it and I don't like it. I think those are tools to use. I think those are all great tools to use along with your traditional brewing to get you to where you want to be. I would definitely look into them. I wouldn't replace everything I do with them. I think there's always a spot where you need to use, at least some pellets and, get that character into your beer, because otherwise, for me, it's just, I don't know, not quite there.
Missing some.
Yeah. And they'll tell you the same thing. They're like, hey, no, this, you don't just use all this. You use, it's a
Conjunction.
proportion. Yeah. They'll tell you right off the bat because they want you to make the best beer possible with their products.
Mhm.
And they're not lying to you. They really know what they're doing. A lot of good scientists. James continues. I've heard of breweries claiming the HCC high density 15 pounds a barrel. Is it a blend of these products? Yeah, it must be, because if you're using 15 pounds a barrel, you are not netting really any liquid out of the beer. I mean, you could. I don't know. It must be, $40 a can for 16-ounce can in order to do that. It doesn't matter what hop it is, because you're not going to get a whole lot of liquid. I don't know if there's brewers out there doing it. And he sends a link. Contact me and let me know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, that link says something
Okay.
like equivalent to 15 pounds per barrel.
More
Yeah, so
Citra than all Citra. What is HDHC? We want to explore unnecessarily large hop additions using our new experimental Citra product, Citra Cryo, and regular Citra pellets. Right. So yeah, they're using some of the new stuff. Right. That's the case there. All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll wrap up right after this. All right, we're back. Having a good time with good friends John Rock Candy Palmer, and Travis
TC.
something TC Tomble. It's not as good as Rock Candy.
Oh no claim at that. No, rock candy's a bomb.
We're gonna have to come up with something new for you, Travis.
If you get something approaching rock candy, I'm all about that.
Okay.
It's like rock candy, baby. Hard, sweet, and sticky. We will work on this.
Sugar Daddy.
Yeah. Tim writes, thanks where thanks are due. Yeah, I like to wrap up on a positive note here. Jamil and John, just want to say thank you for all your advice and knowledge that you have passed on through Brew Strong and the rest of the BN. Ever since I started homebrewing, I've wanted to work in a brewery and become a brewer. I heard of the Brewing Network 6 months into homebrewing and has really fast-tracked my brewing and fueled my passion to brew. This year, I finally followed your advice to get some schooling in order to apply to brewing positions. Halfway through the online CBOL course, concise course, an entry-level position at a local brewery opened up and fell into my lap. I was the only applicant who had any brewing education, let alone being a home brewer and newly certified BJCP judge.
Nice.
And it was and I was a shoe-in for the position. I finally get to quit my day job, sitting at a desk, and start my dream career on August 11th. Not a brewer yet, but I've broke into the industry, and I couldn't be more excited to put in the time and effort and move up the ranks. Thank you and the rest of the Brewing Network so much. Brew Strong, Tim K.
Nice.
This was August 6th of 2015.
So well into that career now.
Right. So Tim's probably at this point disillusioned, hates it, wishes he never wasted his life. We'll see.
Shouldn't you guys be getting mailbox money from that?
What?
Shouldn't you guys be getting mailbox money from that? I mean, he's been brewing for 6 years now. Thanks to you guys. Where's the checks? That's what I'm saying.
The checks. Where's the checks, dude? No, it's good. It's great to see that, the stuff we've been doing over the years has helped people. I don't know that what we do is all perfect, but it's all, comes from the heart and comes from the information that we know, and we update it as needed, and hopefully it's useful to people. I think it is. I think we all know brewing, and we're not hiding any secrets.
Yeah.
People like to hide secrets. It's like, oh Jesus, what's the matter with you? Just tell people what they need to know.
That's the beauty of beer.
Sorry, John.
Oh, no worries. So yeah, that's the beauty of beer. We talk about it, we share it because we love the beer.
As a home brewer, you guys are the single biggest impact, which is really like the multiple biggest impact on me as a brewer. I mean, from starting off and starting to listen to you guys, I don't know how long ago, and having, okay, something's going wrong, but I remember that show, I can handle this. That's all been y'all's shows. It's been excellent.
Good.
Well, it's been a joy, but it has to come to an end.
Yeah.
So many minutes somebody can fit on a CD or a tape in their car, I'm told. And so I'm supposed to keep these shows to an hour because of that. I don't know. Rip out that old stereo, put in something that has like a USB drive, and get yourself a stick with several gigs on it. You get like 128 gig flash drive. You could probably put every show we've ever done on that one drive, and then listen to that until you die. I'm just saying. There's a lot of
over and over and over.
Strong shows. There's Can You Brew It shows. There's the Jamel show. There's
Sour Hour.
There's the Dr. Homebrew. There's all that stuff.
Are there audio versions of your books?
So Somebody asked me to do that. I'm like, it would be great to hear it in your voice. No, I ain't gonna happen.
Audiobooks.
I mean,
John's book would have to be in John's voice, though. It's the only way I would buy it.
I could read the yeast book, but it's just like, oh my God, I wrote that shit. I would be so bored reading it. Oh well,
It's tempting.
it's tempting. What's the money involved? Yeah,
Yeah,
all
that
the
would be.
bucks.
I'll pay my $3 to Amazon so you guys get 50 cents.
Yeah, that's
right?
about the size of it.
Well, if you got 50 cents, it'd probably be more. If $3, it'd
15.
be more like 3 cents.
Yeah.
If that. There you go. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks to listeners and especially thanks to the sponsors who are making this happen.
Dude.
Make sure you like them on the social medias and reach out to them. They're all great folks that really want to help support home brewing, and that's why they're doing this. So they deserve your praise or your support if you can. So thank you all for listening. Till then, brew strong, everybody.
Brew strong, everyone.